and then we'll get started. So just we'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll get started. However, we are going to use this time, firstly, I'll use this time to share with you how you can participate in this webinar in the most effective manner so that when you're spending your valuable time here, you get maximum benefit from it. So firstly, let's understand how will we be communicating or interacting with each other. Just a second, sorry for that. Yeah. So there was a little issue with the live stream, so I was just fixing on that. So I was sharing with you how how you can get the maximum benefit from this session. So that's where if the information that I'm going to share with you in next few minutes, if it is absolutely clear with you and you are able to understand or absorb that information in a way that you can turn that into action. That is, I think, the optimal utilization of your time, the valuable time that you're spending here. Now, for that, it is extremely important that if there is any query, any doubt, anything which is not clear to you, you should get a clarity on that. So in order to get clarity on any doubts or if there's anything which is not clear to you, you should ask that to me, or you should raise that out with me. How can you do that? So for that, down below, if you're joining through a laptop or desktop, you'll see there's an option which says Q&A. So you should use that option to ask questions from me. And towards the end of the session, we'll dedicate around 10-15 minutes for Q&A. So if there's any question, any doubt which is there in your mind, I will clarify all of that, right? So for questions and answer, what will you be using? We'll be using Q&A, which is down below. If you're using a smartphone or a tablets, in that case, you'll find the Q&A option in the menu. Now, there is also a chat option. And a lot of times, chat is also used for interaction, and we will also be using that. So it is not like we'll not be using chat. We will be using that chat. It will be used for two purposes. One is for our interaction. So if any given point of time I want to seek your inputs, I want to understand what do you think about a particular concept, or I want to have your view on that. So that's where I will be using, or we will be using for a ongoing exchange among us. However, I'll avoid to put questions in the chat because obviously there's a lot of volume happening in the chat. So there are a lot of people exchanging information or adding inputs in the chat. So that's where there is a possibility that your question might get missed out. So that's where I would request you, or I am urging to you that you should not add your question in the chat. You should add the question in Q&A section. All right. Now, I mentioned that there are two things for which we will be using the chat. The first one is obviously for our interaction, where I am interacting with you. I'm seeking your views, your inputs, etc. The second item is wherein you want to interact with other wonderful business owners who are also joining us here today, right? So you want to interact with them, share with them that this is what I do, and God knows you may be able to find a buyer or supplier in this session as well, right? So it's a wonderful networking opportunity as well. So you can please feel free to share with other business owners using chat about your self, your organization, what do you do, where are you located, and if you have a website, you can also include that. All right. So I think we have waited for almost 5 minutes now. So let's get started. So this is where I can see the number of participants who have just joined. So let me welcome them as well. So good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants in today's webinar. In today's session, we are going to discuss and understand about a very powerful solution which is called ONDC. And if you are someone who is into B2C, this is it will be there for B2B as well. So if you're a B2B seller, at the moment, the current ONDC solution is not catering to you, but it will be catering to you as well. The current ONDC solution is for B2C. All right. So let's begin our discussion, and in next few seconds, you'll start seeing my screen. I can see there was someone who was requesting for this session to be conducted in Hindi. I would love to do that. However, because we have participants joining from various part of the country, and everyone is not proficient with English, so that's where we have to do conduct this session in English only. But what we'll do is we'll try to have a session, or we'll plan a session in Hindi as well in future, so that we can uh, cater to uh, the participants who want the session to be in Hindi. All right. So this is where let's begin. So in next few seconds, you'll start seeing my screen, and we will get started. Let me quickly start sharing my screen. All right. And let me hide the controls as well, because we'll not be using, and it will keep obstructing our view, blocking our view, and we don't want that. I want you to see the entire screen without any blockage or interruption. So let's begin. Let's go full screen. All right, so this is where we are going to learn how to showcase products on ONDC. Initially, we'll dedicate like 5-10 minutes to understand about the ONDC, because I can imagine many of you are not familiar with ONDC. And that's where let's understand what is ONDC. And before I start explaining what is ONDC, I would like to understand what is your interpretation, or what is your understanding. What is ONDC? You can add your thoughts in the chat, right? So I have chat open on the other monitor, so I have a view on that. So if you can share, what do you think, what is ONDC? If you can do that, it will help me understand what is your understanding, and what is your imagination about ONDC, what ONDC is, right? So you can start sharing. I'm also adding the question in the chat. What do you think? What is ONDC? All right. So I've added that in the chat in case you are not sure, where you have to add your response. So this way it will be an interactive session. Otherwise, it will become a little boring, because it is at the end of the day a technical session, and technical sessions tend to become a little boring. So that's where I try to keep it as interactive as possible. So I'm awaiting your inputs. Anyone from the audience, if you would want to share with me, what do you think is ONDC? Obviously, I will be sharing with you. It is not like I'll not be sharing with you what is ONDC. But before I do that, I wanted to understand from you, what do you think? What is your understanding? All right, so I can see Aishwarya has shared maximize retail. All right, online network through e-com. Nirvi Food, Gaurav. All right. So I can see Mr. Gaurav has shared his inputs. All right. Perfect. So I can see there are few interpretations or understanding with this platform called ONDC. It's not platform. My bad. I'm taking my words back. About ONDC. So firstly, ONDC. What is ONDC? And I would like to thank everyone who shared their inputs in the chat. So thank you, everyone. You are right. And let me just elaborate it further. So ONDC is Open Network for Digital Commerce. So it is a short form for Open Network for Digital Commerce. The first myth that I would want to clarify is ONDC is not a platform. I'm saying that again, ONDC is not a platform, right? So it is not like Amazon or Flipkart. It is not like Snapdeal or any other platform, right? It is not a platform. It is what? It is a network. right? So like emails, we all of us use emails, right? Now you're sending email to me, and it is getting transmitted. You may be using Gmail, I may be using Yahoo, or I may be using AOL or something else. And because we are using different operators, but still, like email goes from sender to receiver very seamlessly. Why does that happen? Because that the sender as well as receiver, both of them are connected by a network, right? SMTP network, which is called SMTP protocol, right? So similarly, what ONDC is that network which connects primarily, there are other operators also in the network, but primarily it connects to, what are those two? Buyers and sellers, right? So it is basically connecting buyers and sellers, a network that connects buyers and sellers. It is again not a platform, but a network that connects buyers to sellers. It also has other auxiliary or related service providers like logistic and payment will be there in some time, right? So those kind of service providers are also there, but primarily it is helping sellers connect with buyers or buyers connect with sellers, right? So it is democratizing online sales or digital commerce. It is a very unique solution or one of a kind solution that exists. And as a country, we should be proud that this is one of the kind or a very unique solution that we have developed. Now, how does that help? Because if you look at the conventional e-commerce system, and I'm sorry, I'm like stepping away from the topic, but just for a very quick second, because that's where it will help you understand or appreciate the value of ONDC. So in the conventional e-commerce system, if you recall, the biggest challenge was there were islands of technology or excellence which were created, right? So there were fewer operators that were controlling big portion of the e-commerce which was happening in the country, with not a very healthy market condition from an economy perspective, from a country's perspective. So how does ONDC comes into play? So how ONDC helps is any seller that has an intention to sell digitally can find buyers through the ONDC network. And this is where you're setting the terms, you are in the control. So you're deciding everything. Another problem which was there with the conventional e-commerce which was happening was that the operators, the marketplaces, they were setting the commissions, they were setting the return policies. They were, so you were just basically playing along, right? So they were setting the rules and you were just following the rules. But this is where you are the seller, you are controlling everything. You are controlling return period, whether the product is returnable or not. Obviously, there are protocols or guidelines that you have to follow, but you are in control. And obviously smaller sellers or the sellers, because of the smaller margin, who are not able to participate in the conventional commerce, they are now able to participate in ONDC. All right. So again, think I had been talking a lot about ONDC and be off track from the subject. So let's come back now. Let's understand about ONDC with next few slides very quickly. So this is something which I think will help you understand about why ONDC is needed. So this where just imagine you are a seller and you want to grow your business and you want to grow it online, right? Now, when it comes to growing your business online, there are two channels or two paths that you can follow. The first path is you can create your digital presence in form of a digital catalog or a website or an online store, whatever term you would want to call. So that is one path which is available. The second path is you can start selling on marketplaces, right? Now, if you're deciding to create your own website and you want to grow your business digitally through that, so that's where you have to invest on something called digital marketing, unless you are a reputed brand, right? So unless you are a reputed brand and there's a lot of brand following, then there's obviously an exception. But other than that, you'll have to market yourself so that customers are coming and they are doing business with you or they are transacting with you, right? So that is something that you have to shell out of your pocket to earn the business, right? If you are choosing the other route, right? So this is where it is investment heavy. So upfront, you have to pay for digital marketing, and then you'll get the customers, and then you'll get the conversions. And like there is also a if and but with that, whether you'll have enough conversions to overcome your costs, etc. Now, the if you wanted to play little safe and you chose the marketplace route, that's where you have to pay commissions, and then obviously you have to play by their rules. There are uh, losses because of returns, etc. Plus, at any given point of time, marketplace may decide that this is a category which is growing quite interestingly, and we should have our own private labels in that. And then overnight, your business may go in smoke, right? So those the kind of challenges are there. Right. So this is how the conventional model was working. I've put in few numbers also to help you understand. Now, for example, if you create your own digital catalog, if you create on your own website and you want to get 100 orders, and that's where if you're imagining a 5% conversion, which is again on a very higher side, so you'll need 2000 visitors to get 100 orders. And if you're assuming 20 rupees per click to bring those 2000 visitors, it will cost you around 40,000 rupees to get to that goal of 100 orders. On marketplace, it will cost you something around 15,000 if the commission, if you're imagining a commission of around 15%, and average order value is 1,000 rupees, right? So these kind of commercials are involved, and a lot of time for a micro small businesses, this become unviable. And sometimes you don't even have the required resource or technology assistance, or what do you call manpower, knowledgeable manpower, more importantly, to help you navigate through this little technical journey. Now, here comes the ONDC solution. Now, how is it working? So, if you there are a lot of introduction, or there's a lot of content around ONDC, which is in fact available on their website also. So, if you go to ONDC's website, or if you go to YouTube and search for ONDC, you'll find that content. Now, in that content, in those videos or in those recordings, you'll notice that they have talked about something called unbundling. So, what unbundling is basically means that if you're looking at the conventional model, let's take Amazon for an example. Now, what does Amazon is doing? Amazon is doing everything. Right? They are bringing in the customers, they are bringing in the sellers, they are managing logistic as well, right? So they're doing everything. Now, if we unbundle it, right? So, for example, if we take a some common life examples, for example, wedding ceremonies or corporate events, etc. So they are like fairly involved and engaged and complex engagements or events, but they are managed or handled or executed very flawlessly, because there are different entities which are involved, and each entity knows their role. And like the decoration wala is coming and they're doing the decoration, the lighting guy comes and does the lighting, right? So everything happens seamlessly, and you have a wonderful wedding or event uh, getting executed, right? So this is where it is not required that everything has to be done by a single entity. Separate entities can come together and they can play their role, and you can have a working ecosystem. So, how this unbundling, the most important unbundling that has happened is that now there are two separate entities. One is the sellers, and the second is buyers, right? So there are two separate entities, buyers and sellers. So there are applications or organizations that are representing sellers, and GlobalLinker happens to be one of the organization that is representing sellers, and there are many other organizations that are representing buyers. So, for example, Paytm. All right. So this is where let's understand this in a little better way using the presentation that we have, or the chart that we have in the presentation. So this is where if you see, you are here as a seller, right? Now, through the GlobalLinker's technology solution, you will be showcasing your products on the buyer application through the ONDC network. So this is where your products are through the ONDC network getting displayed on buyer applications. right? Now the buyer comes to buyer application, and it is the buyer application's responsibility to bring in the buyer. So for example, GlobalLinker's responsibility is to bring sellers to the network, and buyer application's responsibility is to bring buyers so that the conversions can happen or orders can come. Now the buyer application will bring in the buyer, and the buyer will see your product and they will place the order. So again, the order will pass through the ONDC network and it will come to your online store, your digital catalog on the GlobalLinker technology solution. Now you will process that order, and this red line denotes the delivery of the order. So it will get delivered to the customer. Now, because buyer has already made the payment to the buyer application, so once you have delivered the order, the buyer application will transmit the payment to GlobalLinker, and GlobalLinker will transmit then the payment to you as a seller. So that's how the ONDC network, the entire interaction or transaction flow works on the ONDC network, or works through the ONDC network, to be more precise, right? Now, this is related to this. Uh, Many times people have asked me this question that what is the probability, or what is the guarantee that we'll get the payment for our orders. So absolutely, as part of this, any buyer or seller application joining the ONDC network, they are bound by the protocol that if a order has been delivered by the seller, they have to remit the payment. And we already have sellers who are selling or who are processing orders upwards of 20, 25, 30,000 easily on the ONDC network, right? So don't worry on that. Now, related to that, sometimes people have also asked me that why is payment not coming to us? Why is it coming to you? Because you are being represented by GlobalLinker on the ONDC network, right? So there are entities that have to represent buyers or suppliers or sellers on ONDC network. So we as an organization are representing, because understand, from a buyer app's perspective, if they have to deal with millions of sellers individually, it will obviously be a computational as well as taxational, accounting, and compliance nightmare for them, right? So this is where buyer applications decided that we will be dealing with the seller applications. We will not be dealing directly with the sellers themselves, right? So the payment will come to GlobalLinker, which is a seller network participant, and then we will be dealing with the sellers. All right. So that's a common question. So I thought of answering that. Now, this is where if we are again looking at the economics here. So this is where for 100 orders, roughly you'll be getting the entire value minus GST and other taxes. So other than that, you'll be getting the entire value with you. So obviously it is a lot of saving. Now people ask me that what about the buyer finder fee? So there's a concept called buyer finder fee on the ONDC network. Now how it works is that the buyer finder fee, whatever that value is, added back to the value which is value of the order, right? So for example, if there is a 3% buyer finder fee and your product is worth 100 rupees, so that 3 rupees is added to the order value and it is borne by the buyer, right? Now, many seller applications also charge a nominal fee from the sellers on every transaction. At GlobalLinker, we don't do that at the moment, but a nominal fee may get introduced in future. Again, that will be a very, very nominal fee. All right. Now, let's understand how to enable ONDC on your digital catalog. The first and the foremost thing which you have to do is, in case you already don't have a digital catalog or you don't have an online store on GlobalLinker, so you have to sign up on GlobalLinker and you have to create an online store. Once you have created the online store, then you can follow the steps which I'm going to share with you in next few minutes. And by following those steps, you'll be able to enable ONDC onto your online store, and after that your products will start showcasing on ONDC buyer applications, and you'll start getting orders through the ONDC network. All right, so let's understand each of the steps, how you have to go through them. So as I explained earlier, and I hope everyone is clear, that the first thing that you have to do is to create an online store on GlobalLinker. Now, you may have joined through a partnership with ICICI Bank or Retailer Association of India or FIO, but irrespective from where you have joined, you have to create an online store, right? Once that online store is ready, you have added all the product related information, description, etc., then you can enable ONDC. All right. So, perfect. Let's understand, or let's begin our journey to understand how to enable ONDC on your digital catalog, how you to enable it on your online store. All right. So, the first thing that you have to do is you have to enable, you have to switch it on your online store. So for that, I will be very quickly switching my screen. So I'll quickly take you to another window, and this is a demonstration account, by the way, and I've opened the seller panel. Let me go to the home section as if you have just opened the seller panel. So whenever you'll open the seller panel or control panel of your digital catalog, this is the first window which will open up, right? So you click on this button and this is the window which will open up. Now the first step that you have to do is you have to turn on, or you have to switch on ONDC on your online store. How do you do that? So for that, in the left navigation, you have to click on store settings. And after that, you have to click on store details. All right. So you have to click on store settings in the left navigation. And after that, you have to click on store details, which will open this page. Now here you can already see enable ONDC in the horizontal navigation, and you must be already tempted to click on it. But before you do that, I would request that you should click on this tab which says address. So once you click on it, it will open this page. On this page, you have to just ensure that you have updated proper address and Google location. It is extremely important. If you haven't enabled your Google location here, then ONDC may not become active or may not get enabled on your digital catalog. So please don't do this mistake. All right. Location and Google location, or address or Google location. Sorry, address and Google location, both of them. All right. So you have to update. If you have already added the proper address, then you don't have to make any change there. But in case you haven't updated or added the proper address or the correct address, update the address or just ensure that you have added the proper address and also the Google location. And because this feature is powered by Google, so that's where you'll be fairly easily able to update the address. Once you have done that, then you have to click on save, and you have done the first step. Once you have done the step, then you have to click on enable ONDC. I've already filled in the details so that I can walk you through this form. So this will be in this form, or when you will click on enable ONDC, this is how it will appear. The first thing that you have to import is your GST numbers. You have to click you have to input your GST number, and after that you have to input your bank detail. Now here again, although I have clarified this I was just looking at, so there was some, Mr. Vivek, is there anything you would want to get clarified? Because I can see there are a few comments coming from your side, but they're not clear. It seems like you accidentally typed them. All right, so now going back, let me just take a small step back. So in this form, is my screen not visible? Uh, can someone from audience confirm? Is my screen visible? Bipinji, thank you. Yeah. So, Vivekji, in case you're feeling issue with the screen share, then what you can do is you can drop off from the meeting and you can join back again, and hopefully that should fix the issue. If you're facing the issue on a mobile device, if you're joining through your smartphone, then there's a possibility that the Zoom application on your phone may not be updated. So update that and then join back again. That should fix the issue. All right. Now coming back to this form, this is where the first piece of information that you have to input is your GST number. After that, you have to input your bank account. Although it is kind of obvious also. Why do we need your bank account? But I'll just clarify that because this happens to be a common question. A lot of people ask me this question: why do you need our bank account? What do you want to do? So we need your bank account so that we can share the money with you or give the money back to you. All right. For that, I'll just quickly take you back to the presentation. Right. So we need it to give the money to you, right? So buyer app will be making the payment to us, right? Now we have to make the payment to you. So for that, we need your bank account detail, right? So there's no other requirement for that. It is simply for, I accidentally closed the full screen view, right? So let's go back to our presentation. Right, so what that we need, and in terms of your bank account details, you have to input your IFSC code, your bank name, branch address, branch name, your account number. You have to input your account number. You have to specify whether it is a current account or saving account, and in which name the account is, and then you have to input the beneficiary address. Right, so this address should be what is associated with the bank account, not your business's address, but what is associated with the bank. Now, in case the address is same as your store's address, in that case, you can use this tab, and all these fields will get populated. But in case it is a different address, you can type that here. Now, when you come down here, you'll see there's an enable button. You have to turn it on, and then you have TOS for ONDC participation. I would strongly recommend that you should review this document. It will help you understand most of the things related to ONDC, or it will answer most of your questions related to ONDC. So this is where you can see the terms of service, settlement charges, order fulfillment, requirement eligibility, all that is clearly defined or clearly explained in this document. So please do read this document. It will hardly take you like 5 minutes. So once you are done reviewing the document, you have to click here to accept the terms of service and then click on save and enable, and that will enable ONDC on your digital catalog, or you'll see this congratulatory message that the ONDC has been enabled on your digital catalog on your online store. All right, so this is the process. So this is the first stage. If we go back to the presentations, this is the first step that you have to do. We have done that. Now, after completing this step, now we have to go to the catalog section. All right. And while you are on the screen, I would also encourage you that you should also review the mandatory requirement for ONDC, although I am going to explain all these mandatory requirement in great detail as well, right? So don't worry on that. But while you will be going through the journey, I encourage you, you should review the mandatory requirement as well. Now let's go to the catalog section to do the rest of the steps. So what is the next step? If we go to the presentation, mapping products to the ONDC category, that is the next step. Now here, when it comes to mapping products to ONDC category, you can download this file straight away. If you want to do that in bulk, you can straight away download the file from here and you can do the mapping. I will show the mapping, or I'll show the Excel file in a few seconds. But before that, if you're someone who does not have a very large catalog and you would want to do it one product at a time, can you do that manually, right? One product at a time? Yes, you can do that. And for that, for example, if you use this product, which is a smartwatch, you have to click on edit in on the left side of the screen, which will open this page. On this page, you'll see there are a number of tabs. So we have to use the basic tab, the tab which will get opened by default. On this tab, you have to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and that's where you'll see there is a plus sign, add ONDC related details. If you click on that, that's where you'll see there are two drop downs, so ONDC parent category and subcategory. And this is where you'll see the parent category. So there are 6 categories which are currently being supported by ONDC: grocery, home and decor, etc., etc. So you have to select a relevant category. For example, this product is a smartwatch, so it falls in electronics category. So we'll select that, and then we have to select a subcategory. For example, this is smartwatch, so there's a smartwatch category, so we can select that and we can click on save. So this is how you can do that manually. All right. So if you are to do one product at a time, you can do that very easily. All right. So this is about category mapping. So this is where what you are telling the system is that this product that I have belongs to this category and this subcategory on ONDC, right? Otherwise, we can imagine it will become a very big khichdi, right? So, products getting displayed here and there, right? So it has to be very structured. So what ONDC has done, they have created their own category structure, their own parent category and subcategory. Now, as a seller, you have to tell which category and which subcategory my products belong. So, for example, electronics and smartwatch, right? Now, related to this, in certain categories of groceries, there are few additional informations which are also required. What are those? Let me quickly show you. So I will quickly select grocery as the category, and I will select, let's select snacks and branded item, and I'll click on save. So I think it is moved from here. But in certain categories, for example, edible items, you'll also have to provide FSSI license number of the manufacturer or the importer in case it is important product. So you'll also have to import the FSSI number. All right. So that is an additional requirement. It gets displayed here. I'm not sure for what reason it is not getting displayed here. I'll get that checked, but it is displayed here. All right. Now we'll change it back to electronics to the category where this product belongs. So I'll select that, the relevant category and subcategory, and we'll click on save, and the category is updated. So this is the manual one product at a time process, right? So if you have to update one product at a time, this is the process that you can follow. All right. Now let's look at the bulk process. So we'll go back to the product management interface, and this is where you have to click on ONDC category file and sorry, this is the file which gets downloaded. Yeah, this is the file. Let me just zoom in a little bit so that it is bigger and you can see it in a better way. So this is the file which gets downloaded. This is where we have all the products. And then you have ONDC category and subcategory. I had already downloaded the file for your reference. So this is where the information that you get is your system ID, your product codes, product titles, and descriptions, brand and which category the product belong, and then you have to provide the ONDC category and subcategory. Now the obvious question which comes is that from where will I get the list of ONDC category and subcategory, because if we are in the system, so that's where there's a drop down and I can select from that, but in this file it is a CSV file, so it does not support drop downs. So how do I get that list? So for that we have provided a link here. So in the second row, you'll see there's a link. So if you open that link, it will give you a Google Sheet. On this Google Sheet, we have provided you the list of category and subcategories. So for example, like electronics, you can select that, and this is where you have the entire list of subcategories which you can select, and you can easily populate this, right? Again, the important point is that you should populate this file properly, right? So category and subcategory. So this is for your parent category and this is for your subcategory. So electronics, smartwatch, like that, you have to populate it here. Or let me do that very quickly. So let me show you. So for example, this is, I'm just hypothetically electronics, and let's say it is a smartwatch. So like that, very easily you'll be able to populate it. And once you are done, save this file, go back to the seller panel, and here you have upload ONDC category file. Upload the file and the categories will get updated on your digital catalog. So this was the second stage or the second step that you have to do to enable ONDC on your digital catalog. All right. So first is switching it on. Second is telling the system my product belongs to this category and this subcategory on the ONDC construct or in the ONDC infrastructure or structure. All right. So two steps we have understood. Let's understand the third step, that is adding ONDC mandatory information. That is the third step that we have here. So we'll again go back to the seller panel and we use the same product. So we'll again click on edit, which is on the right side of your screen, and the page will open up. It will take like few seconds to load up properly. So wait for it to load up properly. Now this time in this horizontal tab, so here we have number of tabs. So we have to click on price and variant. So we'll click on price and variant, and then we have to click on this pencil shaped icon, right? So it looks like a pencil. It is a edit icon, by the way. So you have to click on it, and which will open this overlay. It will open this pop-up. On this pop-up, again, we have to do the same thing. We have to scroll down, and that's where we'll see plus and ONDC related details, right? So you have to click on this heading, and the moment you'll click on heading, and you'll see it will expand, and you'll start seeing the values here. Now, what are the details that you have to add? So manufacturer or packer name. This is where you have to input the manufacturer's name. So for example, if there's a smartwatch from, let's say, Fast Track, so the manufacturer will be Fast Track. So you have to input there. Now, a lot of times people have come to me with this confusion or concern that it will be we have a very large catalog, so you have to go and find the manufacturers and their addresses, etc. It will be a very time consuming and challenging exercise. Is there a alternate to this? Yes, this is where you can add your name and address as well. So this is where you can see manufacturer or packer address. So manufacturer or packer, because you'll be packing the order. So this, it can be your address as well. So it can be either the manufacturer's address or your address, name or name and address. So the first field is manufacturer or packer name. So it can be manufacturer's name or your name. So you can decide on that, and then manufacturer or packer address. So again, either the manufacturer's address or your address. You can again decide on that. Month and year of manufacturers, you don't have to put in the date, but month and year. And net quantity. Now this is where you have to be little cautious. I'll just delete that and show to you. So this is where you have to specify what is net quantity. Now, let many times I've seen that people will just add 1 unit, etc. So add it cautiously. So if it is a 1 kilogram bot pack, so add 1 kilogram, or if it is 500 ml, then add 500 ml, right? So add these values little cautiously, because this is where again it will have an impact on the searchability of your product. Because what people do on bad applications is they go and they start searching, and obviously if the right values are not there, it will impact the search and it will impact your revenues, your sales. All right. So just be a little cautious. And here also net quantity, and you have to specify these units, right? So whether it is unit, dozen, gram, kilogram, etc. So the value which are provided here, you should use that. So for example, if you have to write gram, GRAM, so write gram as GRAM. Don't just write type GM, right? That will be a violation, and your product may not get listed on the ONDC network because of this violation, right? There are standard units that you have to use, all right? And we are in process of introducing a drop down here so that you are able to choose that little easily. But for the moment, the values are written here and you can choose from them, all right? So this is about updating the mandatory information. Now, again, for edible items, you'll have like additive or nutritional information. So fields vary from product to product. For most of the products, these are kind of standard field. In case of edible items, there are certain additional information that may be required, like additive information or nutritional information, etc., that you may have to also provide. All right. So this is where we will now go and understand if you have to add this information in bulk, right? So you have hundreds of products, adding them like this, clicking on edit and then opening and then copy pasting it may take a long time, right? How can you do that quickly? So to do that quickly, to add this information quickly, you have to use this file, which is the download CSV. So here you can see there's an option which says download CSV. Click on that, and an Excel file will get downloaded. So this is the file which will get downloaded. Let me again zoom in a little bit, and we have to navigate all the way to the right side of the file, right? So all the way to the other side. So here you'll have the columns like net quantity, net weight, manufacturer, packer name, address. So all the fields that we were seeing there, they will be here. So input the information. So it will be a lot easier for you to input the information in Excel file. So just input the information, again, save the file after adding the required information, and then go back to the seller panel and click on bulk edit CSV. This time you have to click on this option, bulk edit CSV, and then upload the file. So I'm just repeating that again. If you have to add the information in bulk, if you have to add this manufacturer or packer name, the mandatory information in bulk, how can you do that? So for that, you have to click here, download CSV, which will download an Excel file. This is the file which will get downloaded. Once this file is downloaded and open on your device, navigate to the extreme right side or the end of the file, the right side end of the file, and that's where you'll find these columns for the ONDC related details like manufacturer name, net quantity, etc. So add values to all these columns. All of them are mandatory, right? So don't consider any one of them optional. All these columns are mandatory other than filters. So I'm not talking about these columns. So these are optional, but here onwards, so all these net quantity, net weight, manufacturer, packer name, etc. These are all mandatory if you want to showcase products on ONDC. So from that perspective, yes, all of them are mandatory. You have to input information in or the right information in all these columns. And once you are done updating the file, save this file, go back to the seller panel, and this is where you'll see there's an option which says bulk edit CSV. Click and upload the file, and you are done updating the mandatory information. All right. So this is the step number 3 that we have done. Now we'll go to step number 4, that is complying with the other ONDC mandatory requirement. There are certain ONDC mandatory compliances that you have to ensure that your store or the product catalog is in compliance. What are those? Let's quickly understand. Now there is a one update that I would want to share before we go into the fourth point of compliance, and that is that very soon we will be upgrading to version 1.2, and that is where 2 more steps will be getting added. That is attribute and specification mapping. And the entire exercise or the entire upgrade is done to improve the customer experience and give or have richer and more quality information, better quality product information on the network that can have better conversions for the sellers as well. All right. So very soon there will be 2 additional steps, and we'll certainly be creating tutorial content around that. So we will help you out in case anyone of you is stuck with that upgrade. So we will be absolutely helping you out as well. All right. So now let's move on and let's understand the step number 4, and that is complying with other ONDC mandatory requirement. What are those requirements? So you can see them on your screen. The first one is your product inventory should be more than 5 units. Right? Simple. I don't think it needs elaboration. If it is less than 5 units, your product will not be displayed. So it has to be 5 or more than 5. All right. Now, how do you update the inventory? I am sure if you have created the store, you are aware how to update the inventory. You can do that manually. You can come here, you can click on edit, and you can come here and you can add stock or remove stock if you want to do that manually. If you want to do that in bulk, in that case, you can again use this file, download CSV, and it has a inventory column. So I'll quickly show you. And it will also help you understand if there are any products that have less than 5 units of inventory and which may get delisted for may not get listed on ONDC. So on this file, there's a column called quantity, and it shows the inventory of the product. So if you have to change the inventory or increase the inventory so that the product continues to be listed on ONDC, you can do that very easily from here, right? So you can check as well as take the required action. You can increase the value here, save this file, go back to the seller panel, and upload it from here. Right? So that will help you ensure that the products have more than 5 units of inventory so that they continue to be displayed or listed on the ONDC network. The minimum 1 image should be uploaded. Now, this will also change to 3 images very soon, because many buyer applications are enforcing this requirement that each product should have 3 images, but at the moment, minimum is 1, right? So you can't display a product without an image on the ONDC network. Certainly, that is not possible. If there is no image, customer will not be able to make the buying decision. So obviously one image is mandatory, but when you're creating your digital catalog, when you're creating your online store, I'm giving you a heads up that add 3 images. That will help you. Summary description should be more than 60 characters. What is summary description? Again, quickly, if you go back to the seller panel, and this is where I am not sure what is that error. So if we click on edit, and this is the summary description. Now this should be more than 60 characters, not 60 words, 60 character. Ideally, it should be like more than 80 words. So you should consider doing that. You should try to keep it more than 80 words. But if it is for ONDC, the bare minimum is 60 characters, which you should ensure. The product price should be greater than zero. Obviously, you would not want to sell a product for free, so it should be greater than zero. Product type should be checkout and not inquiry. Because on our platform, you have a flexibility. You can have a product which is checkout or inquiry. So inquiry is basically where a seller is sending you an inquiry. So I'll just show you an example. Okay, so this is where, sorry, I think they have removed the products, right? So here we have request quotation. So this is where they are sending an inquiry that, hey, we are interested to have this product. So your should be checkout where people can come and they can place an order. If the product type is inquiry, your product will not be visible on ONDC network, will not get listed on ONDC network. Minimum order quantity should be one. So if the MOQ that you have specified on your online store is greater than one, you have to reduce it to one because the bulk buying is not supported by the ONDC at the moment. There's a separate process flow for that. Product visibility should be either B2C or both. Again, going back to the seller panel, that is where you can control the visibility B2C both or B2B. Now, B2B is a controlled visibility where the products are there on your website, but they are behind a locked door, and only the people whom you have given the key can unlock that door and see those products, right? So they are there on your website, but they are behind restricted access, and only the people or businesses whom you have granted the access can see those products, right? So please don't select B2B unless you are using that feature. Select B2C or both. Only then your products will be listed on the ONDC network. The product customization should not be enabled. So if you are someone who is dealing in gifting item and you have a product wherein people can get their name or message written on the product, so those kind of products are currently not supported on the ONDC with version 1.2. The like 1.2.1, the next version which will be coming, that's where the customization will be supported. So very soon it will be there, but not at the moment. So don't enable customization. And integrated logistics should be enabled on your digital catalog. So for this, you have to ensure that if you are going to shipping, so in the left navigation, click on store setting and shipping, and you have courier services. So this is where you have to ensure either Ship or ShipRocket is enabled on your digital catalog. Now, this is where sometimes people have asked me, why are you forcing us to use these operators? We are doing that for a reason, because uh, when sellers are using third-party logistic just to save few rupees, they use third-party logistics, some random local logistic operator. Now, what happens, because it is not possible to track the delivery in case of ShipRocket or Ship, the system keeps tracking. And the moment the order gets delivered, the system updates the delivery and send a notification to the buyer application that the order has been delivered. So there are tight SLAs, or there are systems or algorithms at the back end that keep tracking whether you are dispatching the order on time, whether you are delivering the order on time. Now, many times what has happened, the order delivery got delayed because there was some third party logistic which was used, and because of that, your reputation and ranking gets affected, right? So this is where you're doing kind of an activity of penny wise and pound foolish, right? So you're saving few rupees on the courier delivery, but on the longer run, on a broader scale, your visibility is getting impacted. You'll get fewer orders in future because of that, right? So our sellers don't make that message. That's where we have made it mandatory that you have to use either Shiprocket or Warmership so that the updates are almost immediate and your ranking does not get affected or impacted. All right. So that is the last mandatory requirement. Now there is one more mandatory requirement, which is again, I'm giving you a heads up. And for that, I will just quickly take you back to the product interface. And here you can see ITC HS code. So HS code is again a mandatory requirement which is coming, and there will be EN and JTIN code which will come along with 1.2. But HS code is also, so even at this point in time, if you are enabling ONDC, I would recommend you should add HS code. Now you can add that manually, or if you would want to add it in bulk, you can also do that. Let me show you from where you can add that in bulk. So for that, you have to use this file, download products, and which will download another file on your device. This is the file which will get downloaded. Let me just quickly show you. So this is where you have the column for HS code. So you can just input the HS codes here and then save the file, go back to the seller panel and upload it from here. And that will add HS codes to the product, right? So again, that is a mandatory requirement which will get enforced very soon. So while you're in this process, please do this as well. All right. So this is where I'm going to turn off the screen share. Now, in case you're wondering whether you'll get the recording of this session or not, yes, absolutely, you'll get the recording of this session. In fact, I will also share the presentation with you. So you'll also get the presentation along with the recording. We'll email that to you on the email ID that you have used to register for this webinar. All right. So I can see there are a few questions in the Q&A. So let me try to answer those questions. And if there's anything which is not clear to you, please do feel free to add that in the Q&A. I am also very quickly going to share my email ID here so that if any one of you has any question or if you need help or assistance, then reach out to me. I will also be sharing uh, our help desk contacts here. So let me also move the chat to this other monitor. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am sharing my contact details in the chat. So if anyone of you wants to connect with me, please do feel free to do that. If you need any help or if you need any guidance or if you're stuck at any step, please do feel free to reach out to me. All right, so I'm going to go through the questions. So the first question is uh, from Aishwarya. So Aishwarya, if you can help me understand what type of help do you need from our side, I'm sharing my email ID. Uh, so if you can help me understand, I'm sharing it with you via private message as well. So let me know what kind of help you need from our side, and we can certainly look into it, how we can help you. Next question is from Mr. Vikramjeet Singh, and it is about the commission between GlobalLinker and sellers. At the moment, GlobalLinker is not charging any commission from its sellers. In future, a very nominal commission might get, right? So very nominal means like below 1% or in that radar. So might get applied in future, but not at the moment. Next question is Again, from Aishwarya Mishra. So, what should be the address for an e-commerce brand? It has to be your business address. And interestingly, if you read the e-commerce policy, it makes it mandatory that any e-commerce business or any e-commerce seller on their website, they have to also publish their address clearly and contact number, right? So, even if you're an e-commerce brand, you must be having an office and you can, or a registered office, and you should add the address and you can mention that address, all right? So I hope that answers the question. Next question, then the two questions from Bipin Ji, and Bipin happens to be a very regular participant of my webinar. He is also a ONDC, existing ONDC seller. So he wants to understand what is the timeline on version 1.2. So there are a few last minute changes which ONDC has implemented. And because of that, we have to do system changes. I had already talked about that, like EN code, GAT code, etc. So to make those changes, there's some additional time which is going. So very soon we'll be live on ONDC 1.2. Next question is how to add summary 60 characters in which column, right? This is an important question. So what I'll do is I'll quickly start sharing my screen, and I'll just quickly guide you if you have to do this. If you have to add the summary in bulk, how do you do that? All right, so give me a quick second. Where is the Excel file? Sorry. Yeah. And let me minimize these very quickly. All right. So this is the file which gets downloaded by when you click on download product, right? Now here you have a column called summary, this column. This column D. And here, if you have to check how many characters are there in a particular summary, so you can just use a formula. So let me just put it here. So it is a simple Excel formula called LEN, and then you can select that. So this particular product has 5 characters in the description, and this one should be having more. It has 2,606 characters, right? So very easily you can do that. And if you have to update it here, you can also do that very easily. You can just add the new description in this column, save this file, and go back to the seller panel and upload it from here. So click on download, upload products, and you can upload it from here. All right. So I hope that answers Bipin Ji's question. Next question from Gaurav Gupta. International transaction ONDC at the moment is domestic only. It will be going international, but not at the moment. The current one is only domestic. Next question from Malav is, sorry if I am pronouncing your name incorrectly. So I am sharing with you my email ID. Just give me a quick second. Please send me an email with your contact number, and I will have someone from my team reach out to you and guide you with the store setup or help you with the issues that you're facing. Next question is again from Mr. Gaurav Gupta about B2B. So B2B is in works. It will be coming in future. ONDC B2B is not available at the moment. Next question, Nirvi Foods, delivery charges. So the delivery charges are obviously paid by the seller, but you can collect them from the buyer. Certainly, you can do that. And you decide what will be the delivery charges, because the beauty of ONDC is that it gives absolute control to the seller, and you can decide the delivery charges, you can decide the return period or whether the product is returnable or not, right? So you can decide all that yourself. And you can decide to charge delivery fee. And if you're deciding to charge delivery fee, it is definitely paid by the buyer. Next question is from Mr. Vikramjit Singh, uh, and he wants to understand the pricing should include shipping or shipping is charged separately. So shipping is calculated and charged separately. Next question is from Nearby Food. Is there a application developed? Yes, GlobalLinker has a mobile application, but I strongly advise that if you have to do the business properly, do it from a laptop or a desktop. You'll be able to do it more efficiently. Next question is from Mr. Satish about services. Such services is also in work, so they are deliberating, they're brainstorming on how to incorporate services on the ONDC network. So it is also something which will be coming in future. Okay, e-commerce policy. So Vipinji is asking me to share e-commerce policy. Let me see if I have that handy. I'll share it with everyone also. Just give me a quick second to check. I do have that on my computer, but I am not sure whether if I have that handy. So you just give me a quick second to check. All right, so I'm not able to find it. No worries. Bipinji, you can drop me a email. I'll share it with you personally. So uh, I just drop me an email and I'll share it with you. Next question, Mr. Ajay Gupta. Can you sell handicraft products? Yes, certainly. That is the core objective to empower our artisans and handicraft manufacturers and seller to sell digitally, because that's where people were handicapped or facing challenges when it comes to selling digitally. So certainly, yes, you should do that. And if you need any help, please do feel free to reach out to me. We'll be more than happy to help and guide you. I can see there's a comment by Swapna. Swapna, if you can drop me an email, I'll be able to guide you with the correct category. I have already shared my email ID in the chat. So if you can drop me an email, I'll be able to guide you, which, with respect to which category you should. Next question is in the chat I can see is from Naresh Nigam. So Nareshji, I think you joined in late because I've explained the entire process of uh, how to start listing your products on the ONDC network. So this is where you don't have to go and list anywhere else. You have to create your online store on the GlobalLinker, and that online store products then start getting listed on ONDC. All right. So I would request you to review the recording of this session. The recordings will be emailed to you. So you can review the recording and that will help you understand in a better way. All right. I am not seeing any question or any more questions. So this is where I think we can conclude this session for today. But before we conclude the session, so if there was anything which was not clear to you, or if there is something which you wanted clarification on, and I was not able to clarify that to your satisfaction, please do feel free to reach out to me. You have my email ID. Please drop me an email, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you on a one-on-one level and help you clarify any doubts or questions that you may have. All right, so this is where we will conclude the session for today. Thank you, everyone, for taking out time and participating in the session. Have a wonderful evening ahead.